Yesterday, we spent 4 hours together, and we talked a lot about Rob Thompson. Today, we flip to the next page. A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is becoming too much. He is. His antics make things more difficult for his teammates and his coaches. And if winning and getting things on track is the main goal, why make it harder? I don't understand the purpose. I get the frustration. Trust me, I have eyeballs. I watch this team every Sunday. I see how tragic this offense is, and I think it starts with Sirianni and Kevin Patullo. And as a Jalen man, I won't excuse the quarterback either, but I do believe it starts with the flawed system. So I absolutely see why he's mad, why he's angry, why he wants more. But it's also true to say A.J. Brown is just becoming too much, and it's a pain in the ass. And you have to wonder, what do you do about it? Now, I understand Howie Roseman, dead cap, trade this, trade that. My number one rule, we don't talk Howie Roseman and dead cap and salary because nobody knows what it actually means because he manipulates everything. That's my number one rule. So I'm asking you, do you believe A.J. Brown is becoming too much to the point where the Eagles have to seriously just look at this situation and wonder, what the hell do we do? Because it's problematic now, okay? It's getting uglier and uglier and uglier. There are relationships in that NovaCare complex that seem to be so broken that there's no Scotch tape, there's no Elmer's glue, there's no Gorilla Glue, there's no stitching that could be done to fix it. 215-592-9494. Let's go over the latest and where we currently stand. Jimmy Kempski reported that Jalen, AJ, and Saquon had a meeting that lasted hours, and it was a positive one. Now, my light bulb went off in my head, and truth be told, my first thought was somebody within the Eagles gave him that nugget to spin a positive story. That's the first thing that came to my mind personally. All right, now let's listen to a couple pieces of audio. So that was first. That's when we got hit with the news. Jimmy Kempski reported it. So our very own Elliot Shore Parks had an opportunity to ask Jalen Hurts about it, and this is what he had to say.
Yeah, it's just us talking about the collective, talking about taking ownership for what we can, and talking about how we move forward as a team so we continue to find ways to win games.
Why the need for a meeting, do you think?
It's really just teammates being teammates.
What was your takeaway in the conclusion of the meeting?
Say it again?
What was your takeaway in conclusion of the meeting?
I don't want to make this about that, right? We got a short week. We got the division opponent coming in here. I enjoyed every second of it, and I'm enjoying every second of every opportunity we have to improve. And so that's what I've always made it about. That's what I continue to make it about. It's truly about the collective and what we do and the opportunities we have in front of us. And so everybody in this building just wants to take advantage of that.
Okay, so when I hear that, it feels to me there was a meeting. They sat down, they communicated, teammates being teammates. We take ownership. We look at what's happening. We come together. We talk it out. We talk through it. We want to see how we can all help each other so we can get this on the right path, start winning football games, start getting crisp football on a week-to-week basis, and reach our ultimate goal, which is another Super Bowl run. That's what I heard in my ears, as I kind of paraphrase it, from Jalen Hurts. Now, this was A.J. Brown after the loss to the Broncos in the locker room.
Jalen, what was behind that?
I don't recall the meeting.
Oh, okay. The meeting that we're at.
I don't know what you're talking
Those
about.
guys said it did happen.
Oh, you need to talk to them.
You weren't in the meeting,
I don't recall.
or you don't want to just talk?
I don't recall.
Coming into the season, returning 10.
No, what the hell is that? Why? Why does he always have to play these stupid games? It's dumb. It's foolish. It's a joke. It's embarrassing. It really is. Like, in what world, if you want to get what you want, right? Because it's obvious AJ wants what's best for AJ. Forget anybody else. He wants what's best for AJ Brown. How the hell does that type of remark get you to where you want to be? How does it make it easier to collectively be better at football? It just creates more noise. It gets people angrier. It creates more controversy. It makes it harder. And if you don't believe in Patullo, if you don't believe in Sirianni, if you think they're bad at their job, again, I don't know how something like that is going to help the tension. He then takes it to Twitter. He said the meeting wasn't a meeting. He was walking to his car and stopped to chat. What? What am I talking about? The fact that I even have to rip through this timeline, and this is what's coming out of my mouth talking on sports talk radio, is insane. But this is what he does. Every single year, it's AJ this, it's AJ that, it's AJ, that stupid smile, that stupid little narcissistic way he goes about it every single year. And it's becoming too much. I got to be honest with you, too much. He's talented, he's special, he's amazing on the field, and I don't want to lose that. I don't. I'm okay with headaches when the talent is so great. Truly. But I just can't rationalize it in my brain because I would never take this path in a billion years because I would want to actually get this right. And this is so far from what helps you get this right. How does this help anybody? 215-592-9494. I want to know from you if you believe A.J. Brown is becoming too much. Now, 215-592-9494. Let's go to the phones. Let's kick things off. I'm getting more fired up than I thought I would. But, man, the more and more I process it, I'm not saying he has no right to be mad. He absolutely has a right to be mad. But I just don't know how this helps. If you really want to get this right, he'd have to sit down, not sit down with me. I'd have to run into him in the parking lot so we can talk about exactly how this would ever seriously align with getting back on track. Because this is silly. This creates more chaos. It becomes noisier and louder. And this is all I could come up with. He might just not give a damn and doesn't want to be here so badly that his goal isn't to fix it with the Eagles. Because he looks at Sirianni, he looks at Kevin Patullo, and he realizes these cats aren't it. I think he hates Jalen, and he probably looks at Jalen and says he isn't it. And I don't think he wants to fix it. So that's why maybe he's pulling this lever and going down this path as aggressively as he is, because he doesn't want to be here, and he doesn't care to be here, and he doesn't care to fix it because he doesn't envision it ever actually getting to where it needs to be. So that's probably why he does it. But then get the hell out of here then. That would be my response. To the phones, 215-592-9494. Kevin in Elkins Park, you're on WIP. What's up, Kevin?
All right, I'm on AJ's side. I'm sorry to go against the grain, man, but I'm telling you, dude, the first three games, how many passes did he get?
Well, I think the offense stinks.
Did he get?
I think the offense is horrible structurally.
Excluded out of the entire game. You're the number one receiver.
So whose fault is that? Whose fault is that?
You're supposed to get the ball,
Whose fault is that?
Come on, Jalen.
No, it's not.
Dude.
No, it's not.
Come on.
No, it's not.
It is.
Do you watch the game every
Totally
week?
is,
Do
dude.
you see what the experts say, Kevin, every week about how they're asking A.J. Brown to run 3 routes and the same concepts from the same spot on the field every single week? You don't think that there is something flawed with the actual structure of this offense from top to bottom, and that's why they can't get a completion?
How ticked off would you be? All right, how ticked off would you be? You run your ass off 18 times in a
time
game,
out.
and
He
you don't
doesn't.
get the
Kevin,
ball.
I'm putting you on hold. Time out. He doesn't. He doesn't block for his teammates. He half-asses it. He stops running his routes. He's not running his ass off. He's not putting in the full effort. He's not doing everything he can. He's not. He gave up. He doesn't care. He's not doing it. So I'll go back to you. But let's not act like A.J. Brown is doing everything right. He's the reason why they didn't connect on a home run pass for a touchdown, because he put out 40% running his routes. The tape says it all. He's not giving it what he should give it. He's not putting in his full effort. Continue.
So late. You run your ass off 18 times in a game.
Nah, he doesn't, though. I'm out on you, Kevin. He doesn't. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, the tape says it. He doesn't. Now, again, A.J. Brown is allowed to be mad. A.J. Brown, but my question is, how does this help? How does this help? How is this, what he's doing now, the route that he's taking, how does this help? You're allowed to be on AJ's side. I'm not going to just scream at you all day. I promise. I really do promise that. I'm not going to yell at you all day if you're an AJ supporter. I understand AJ's upset, and I get why. But I need to know how this is beneficial. And the only thing I can come up with is he doesn't care if it's beneficial because he doesn't want to be here anymore. But I also... what I'm not going to stand for is Jalen Hurts sucks at quarterback. Because you don't make 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, look that great in the Super Bowl loss, win a Super Bowl MVP, and he's a tragic quarterback who sucks. It's not right. It's not right. If you want to be objective and talk to me right about the way that this scheme is broken and how experts constantly say, you know what? I'm gonna go to this audio cut. Jack, I was going to tease this for later. Can we play the Dan Orlovsky get-up cut? Because it perfectly describes what's going on here. So
we talked a lot about this game yesterday. As you watched it play out, what was your single biggest takeaway from what happened to the Eagles last night?
Yeah, the Eagles got to make a change on offense. We're a third through the season. This offense stinks right now. This offense doesn't do anything well. They don't do things on offense. Early downs good. They're in the shotgun way too much. Philadelphia, you better get out of the shotgun as much as you are because it's killing your offense. And they're bad on third down. I'll go to the pick six, Greeny. They ran that same concept.
It wasn't
4
a pick
times,
six, but
the same way, essentially out of the same alignment. Defenses know what's going on. You know, when you are constantly running this, and I know Harry talked about this, AJ being open, and I agree with that, but Jalen threw that same concept 4 times in the game. And so we could sit here and point fingers at the players and whatnot, and there's a reality. Here's the stretch. This is it, guys. I mean, there's that little stick route on the inside and flat route. That's early in the first quarter. You go a little bit later. There's that little stick route and flat route. Into the same side. Flat is sitting there watching it. Here comes a little motion. There's going to be that little stick route and flat route. I mean, they're running the same plays out of the same concepts, out of the same formations, and then this is the pick six. And so when you, as J-Mac knows this, you show these defenders the same thing all the time. Eventually, defenders know what's coming. Lane Johnson just said, we're not doing anything to make the defense guess. They're in the shotgun all the time. When you look at Saquon's alignment, it's going to tell you more often than not what the play is. They're running the same plays. The defense does not have a big plethora of plays to guess what they're running. They got to make a change because right now this offense is bad.
Okay. This is a scheme problem. I'm not turning this into Jalen Hurts sucks at football. I'm not doing that. Let's have a real conversation. The reason why A.J. Brown isn't getting what he's getting is it's actually so predictable that these defenses are laughing, knowing that there is nothing to it. And AJ has every right to be angry with that. but I don't know how his path here is going to fix anything. It's not. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's embarrassing to take the route that he's taking, thinking that this would be beneficial to the team. You don't make it harder when you're in a time like this if you really care. That's my point. Okay, we will go back to the phones, but I think that needed to set the record straight. 215-592-9494. I won't yell at you all show long. I promise. Tom and Olney, you're on WIP. Hey, Tom.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. I'm inclined to side with A.J. Brown.
Okay.
And it's not, I get why, you might get excited and stuff like that. But when he's getting interviewed on by the press or whether he met with, Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley or whoever, maybe he felt as a player or as an organization or whatever, that's nobody's business, in terms of, the public. Because there's a line where, if the organization, whether it's a team or a job or a company or even a family, you don't really want to put all your business out there. And that might have been the way he looked at it. You got to take that into consideration. I don't know how you interpret what I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. Just knowing we've been around A.J. Brown for so long and knowing his tactics, I don't feel that was his genuine approach there. Now, maybe someone else in that situation doesn't want to spill the in-house tea, but this guy is literally known to put tea out there on his own for 5 years. So if it was anybody else, maybe I could understand, but he does it with the smile. He does it with the tweets.
Yeah, I get that. I saw the same smirk and all that, you know. But and I get that. But at the same time, all things aren't public information, especially if they're struggling. And, when they win, the whole world's like, this is the greatest team ever. They're 4-0 and blah, blah, blah. They could have been 2-2 for that matter. They've had their problems and all that. And when they win, and it's like the best team ever. When they were losing, how do we, blow up the boat?
Well, the problem is, and Tom, I appreciate your call. It's not right now about wins and losses. And trust me, I remember back in 23, and even early this year, you're right, they started 4-0, but it didn't look super clean. You find ways to win in this league because it's a nasty league. And you can lose with a snap of the fingers, and you'd rather stack wins up, especially early in September when you don't play preseason, while you learn what type of team you're going to be and how you progress week in and week out. But as Dan Orlovsky just mentioned, this thing is actually it's not football. What they're doing is not National Football League stuff. They're doing Pop Warner 6-year-old football level stuff. So it's not really about the wins and losses and you got to blow it up and this and that. And to get it back on track with AJ, I don't buy that he's doing this because it's not supposed to be out for the public. If anything, he wants it out there. He wants it to be known. And Diana Rossini's got all these reports every single week. There's smoke to the fire. I think he's done here. I think he's checked out. Whether it's Jalen himself, their friendship once went from best friends to now they're not. Whether it's not believing in Nick, not believing in Patullo, a combination of all three of those things. And the fact that Jalen, you got to win with Jalen in a certain way. And when you win in a certain way with Jalen, it's good enough to win a Super Bowl. But it's not what AJ wants. So that's also a factor, is he just doesn't like the style that you have to win with using Jalen as a quarterback. It's not Josh Allen. It's not Lamar Jackson. It's not Aaron Rodgers. It's Jalen. And it works because it wins Super Bowls and it gets to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. But it's not AJ's way. And he doesn't like that. So the combination of all 4 of those things, let's say, that's why he's getting loud and obnoxious, because he wants the T to be out there. It's the exact opposite, I feel, of what Tom was mentioning. I think he wants the public to know how frustrated he is because he wants out of here. I think that's where we're at. Jack in Philadelphia, you're on WIP. Hey, Jack.
Hey, rough week for Philly sports fans, and also as a Penn State fan. And,
well, today was a win for you, no?
yeah, it's a win. It's a win. It's been a long 10 years.
Yeah, I think it's been 12.
12 years, sorry. And I think with his recent failures, people are going to overlook the fact of the era that our football came out of, and people are not going to give him his credit. And I was ready for him to go, but he brought us back from a place that not many people could have.
I got you. What do you got on AJ, though?
AJ, I understand his frustration. Like, if I was a receiver, I'd want the ball, and I want to win too, but I'm not a big fan of putting it in public. I think that's a behind closed door conversation. Hold your professionalism when you're giving your post game interviews, and then when you're in the locker room, that's where I think that business is handled, not in public for the fans to catch wind of.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's methodically doing that, though, because he's over it and he's done with it. And you only go that way if you have an agenda at the end of the tunnel. I don't think his agenda is this is going to fix the problems that we desperately need to fix. I think the agenda is I'm done here. I'm over this. I don't want to be anywhere close to this chaos. Get me away. And that's what sucks is you got Saquon and Jalen and Sirianni and Patullo. Whether they have what it takes, and I appreciate the call, Jack, to actually fix the answers or not, they're going to war for each other trying to get those answers. And then you have this crazy pushback of the one guy who's being very selfish about it. And that's where it all kind of goes. And it makes it, again, it makes it that much harder and maybe even impossible as a unit to get this to work. Because you can even see, even if there's a nice play and nothing crazy, but just a 10-yard gain, an 8-yard gain, AJ doesn't care. He's like, whatever. He throws the football to the ref and he just lines up again. He doesn't care about that stuff. He doesn't care anymore. I see a guy who's totally checked out. And it sucks because he's a very talented player. And he's going to go somewhere and he's going to get a lot of yards. I don't know if he's going to win a championship, but he'll go somewhere and he'll catch the football a lot and he'll have something that's sexy on the stat sheet and on the box score. And kudos. I want to win championships, and losing him would absolutely impact our chances of getting a championship. But you also need to have buy-in. You also need to have someone who wants to be here. He doesn't seem to be the guy that even if he's ticked off, he's giving it 100%. He won't block the same. He'll give up on his route, all that stuff. Well, there could be people who are disgruntled, especially wide receivers who are divas, and they still give you 1,000% on the field because that's the only way they know how to do it. And then they go ball out and they shut people up that way and they say, this is why I get angry, because when you get me the ball, I can do this. But he doesn't do that. If anything, he gives up. He gives 50%, 60%. He slumps his shoulders. He cries on the bench. He gives you this look when he's sitting there slouched and not really caring about what's going on in the game. He wears it, and then that affects his play. So it's not like the disgruntled wide receiver is still giving maximum effort to prove his worth. He doesn't. And then that creates a whole nother side of this. But listen, my point is A.J. Brown is just becoming too much. 215-592-9494. Do you believe he is? And look, I'm not sitting here right now banging on the table saying I got to get rid of this guy tomorrow, right? All I'm saying is the tactics that he's using now and the antics that are happening, it's reaching a level of we can't just have this happen, right? It needs to stop. If this goes on week 6, week 7, week 8, week 9, week 10, like something has to happen. We can't sit here through February. We'll even get there in February now. You can't sit here through October, November, December, and this just happen every week. It's becoming too much. 215-592-9494. That's the phone number. We're just getting started. Very passionate opening segment. We'll continue to talk about it. Coming up next, Lane Johnson calls out Kevin Patullo's nonsense. You will hear from the offensive lineman on what is wrong with the offense. It's Brodes with you. It's 94 WIP. I just think A.J. Brown's becoming too much. The antics, it just makes everything harder. It makes everything worse. I could never, and maybe I'm just a different breed. Okay? And clearly me and AJ don't see eye to eye on how to be a teammate, obviously. But, I mean, if you want to get this to look smooth, you're doing everything in your power to make it choppier. You're adding speed bumps. You're adding gravel where it's rocky instead of smooth pavement. Why? That's all I want to know. I want to sit down and have an honest conversation with them and say, why? Talk me through your thought process on how this helps. Because I don't see the vision. Before we get back to the phones, 215-592-9494, do you believe A.J. Brown is being too much? A lot of this stems from what I feel is a lack of real NFL offense. I think that's where it starts, is this offense is just so bad. It's so bad from Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo. And Lane Johnson agrees this was him post-game.
Not the result you want tonight. Where do you feel like it slipped away?
Yeah, we're not very efficient offensively. We have times where we have big explosive plays, but not able to capitalize and put it in the end zone. Costly mistakes. I feel like our run game isn't very efficient right now. We're making it very hard on all phases for us.
Why is that?
I think when you look at it, maybe we're too predictable. Maybe I think when you look at some of the stuff we did last year, the production isn't matching the talent. So, collectively we got to come together and do better. And so, obviously what we've been doing the first few weeks hasn't been working. And, even the games that we won, it hasn't been as efficient, as we like.
You can see.
Yeah, no, it's frustrating. I think, like I said, the talent we have, and the production isn't matching. So, it's frustrating. I felt like we've had a great week of practice, but, a lot of football games are won by adjustments, at halftime, in between series, and obviously we're not doing a good job at that. So
it's a lot there. Predictable. Every single person and their mother that covers the NFL all say this thing is so predictable. It's to the point where it's like almost impossible to be this predictable, yet they are. Right? And now Lane Johnson saying that. And then he takes another shot at Kevin Patullo. These games are won when you make adjustments in games, series after series. Well, how come they can't score in the second half? They can't score. And sometimes they can't even complete a pass. Do you know how deep you have to go into why things are struggling if you can't even get a second half completion? A completion? This thing is so out of sync. The way AJ's handling this is only adding so much more turmoil when trying to get this back. So Warren Sharp tweeted this out 2 days ago. Philadelphia Eagles offense in the second half. In 2025, they're 32nd in points, 32nd in scoring, 31 in punt rate, 31 in yards per drive. In 24, they were second in points, second in scoring, second in punt rate, second in yards per drive. One had a very experienced Kellen Moore. One has an inexperienced, nowhere even close to being ready for the moment, Patullo. I hate that it feels like A.J. Brown is making this a Jalen Hurts thing, because it does feel that way. It's a coaching issue. First, Jalen's not perfect. But I think a lot of the reasons why he has struggled is because it's so predictable. Your quarterback can't succeed when the other defense knows what's coming at a crazy clip. And AJ doing this, it just doesn't help. And he's being too much. Back to the phones. Nick in Hillsborough. You're on WIP. Hey, Nick.
Brodes, I need some kush to get through this, man. This is just so aggravating. Week in. I don't even smoke, dude. I never even get in my life, and I need it.
Well, you're missing out. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm just so over this. Listen, there's a word that comes to mind with AJ. He's a malcontent, right? Remember we won the Super Bowl last year, and like 2 days later, he's like, "Oh, this wasn't all cracked up. What I was going to be." Like, who says that 2 days after getting your ring? Like, come on, man. But the way he's going, listen, Patullo, this is 23 all over again. It's just it's making me pull my hair out just watching this Pop Warner offense. It is so bad. But the way AJ goes about it is just it's giving me T.O. vibes over and over, week after week. It's not worth the aggravation, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but this is and listen, I obviously agree with you, Nick, but this is where the issue lies is when you have the T.O., that was the best version of the Eagles going to the Super Bowl. And then when you don't have T.O., we sit here and we complain that we can't win with Pinkston. So that's where the issues lie.
I get it. No, and I agree with you, but is the headache worth it? I know we're 4-0, kind of seems like smoke and mirrors, but we did win without him doing anything. And I'm not saying that's sustainable moving forward. It's just it's like the girl that you're dating that just goes out with your friends and talks crap. And this, he just wants to be broken up with. He wants out of here. It has never been more clear and more apparent.
Yeah, and Nick, I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. I don't think it's sustainable without A.J. Brown. Well, I do think that there's a world where Devontae Smith can be your number one. You could bring in another awesome wide receiver. It won't be as good as the duo of A.J. Brown and Devontae, but Devontae and someone else could still be very, 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 very strong, and you can still win seriously with that. I do believe that's the case, but if you just remove A.J. Brown, and we're talking Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson type stuff, well, yeah, I mean, that's a huge drop-off, and I don't think that's sustainable, and that's what makes this uglier. And that's what gives A.J. Brown all this power, is Howie Roseman knows it. There's a reason why Howie Roseman went out and made the move with Tennessee, because he knows what an A.J. Brown means. And even if he doesn't do anything on paper, as you mentioned, they won some games, and he wasn't necessarily the juggernaut. He was in the second half against the Rams, but his presence alone strikes fear. And that allows guys like Devontae and others to have more space and more opportunity in different matchups because they need to focus on AJ. But when AJ runs the same three routes and there's no versatility in the offense, then it takes away some of that power. But that's sort of the juggle. And even me, who's going to sit here and rip A.J. Brown for the next 3 hours, this is where I find myself sometimes even debating my own thoughts. It comes down to, though, if he's already checked out, then there's nothing you can do about it, right? If he's not willing to do X, Y, and Z, then at some point the writing's on the wall and we see which way this is going. And my gut tells me we see which way this is going. That's just what my gut says. I could be wrong, but that's what my gut says. I think he hates Jalen. I think he does not believe in Nick. I think he does not believe in Kevin Patullo. And I think he feels, I'm going elsewhere. I see guys chucking the ball all over the field. I could get a bigger payday with numbers in other spots. I got my Super Bowl trophy. I'm good. And that's what I think's happening. And he's making it pretty clear to the Eagles that this is silly and I'm done. And now it's on who I thought was really good at relationships, Nick Sirianni, to either fix this or the organization as a whole, Howie, Laurie, they need to figure out a way to maneuver through any financial cap stuff with an AJ move. They did it before with Wentz. So you find ways, but we're here. I mean, there's just no sugarcoating it. We're here. Can't lie to yourself. We're here. A.J. Brown is just becoming too much. It sucks that we're here, by the way. I don't take joy in this. Michelle, you're on WIP. Hey, Michelle.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
You're really fired up on AJ.
I know.
I can tell you. So I'm the opposite. So
okay.
Let's just take a deep breath.
I will.
Okay.
I promise I will.
So AJ's rocking it. And I think it's great that AJ is coming out with his emotions. I mean, it's good. It's good that he's letting it out. Why keep it in? Why keep it, in and bottled up? Did you listen to Reese this morning? They're not fighting in the locker room. They all love AJ in the locker room. We're making this a much bigger thing that's creating a problem. AJ is doing what he's doing. He's great. He's wonderful. We all love him. The guys are all working together. Definitely it's a little too predictable. We need to, change that up. We don't need 4 tush pushes in a row. That's kind of embarrassing for Philly. 1 or 2, but 4 in a row? Come on, guys. But AJ, let's stop beating him up. I mean, he's like this incredible football player. He's in touch with his emotions. You know, he's not a huge diva. It's okay. You know, Jalen, I mean, I love Jalen too, but he doesn't talk that much. He doesn't come out with his emotions. So let him express his emotions.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm curious your thoughts on this. If there was a struggle with the offense and things aren't looking well, and, you know, obviously it's not what you said it yourself. It's embarrassing that they have to run 4 tush pushes because they can't produce anything. So how, with AJ letting his emotions rock, knowing that there will be a lot of talk about it, how does that actually benefit the situation now that there's more talk about it? It gets nastier when he opens up his mouth and when he says, oh, we didn't meet, when there obviously was a meeting that Jalen spoke about. He goes, no, it wasn't a meeting. We just talked at our car. Well, that's not what Jalen said. So clearly he's poking it to make it more obnoxious publicly. Do you know what I mean?
Right, but you know, Reese talked this morning, and he is like, "There's nothing going on between these guys, right?" And it's important that we listen to him. I mean, he's our accommodator. Like, he's the one that tells us like the truth of the truth. I think it's good that AJ is coming out expressing himself. If he didn't, he'd have it bottled up, and that would affect like the plays and
well, he can still have these the same conversations he's having publicly. And I respect your opinion, Michelle. This is just good back and forth, but I just feel if he doesn't need to keep it bottled up. He needs to have this talk with his teammates and not use the members of the media with the smirk and the smile and the tweets.
But how do you know he's not talking?
No,
to
he might be, but he doesn't need to then take it to the media too.
Right. But also, like, we don't need to beat him up. So, like, you don't know the true story. You don't know what's going on. This is just your assumption of what's going on.
Of course, but he makes me assume. He makes me assume. He doesn't need. If he's quiet, I don't assume.
Right. Okay. But you're ready to like kick him out of Philly. We're keeping him in Philly.
Well, I don't know if that's true.
Well, we are.
So you're assuming that. I don't know if you will. I don't know if they are.
Because we are going to keep him in Philly.
Well, I don't know if we are.
This is what I feel. Look, these are like, look at the Phillies. Okay. Do you ever have this kind of commotion going on with the Phillies?
Yes, Nick Castellanos called Rob Thompson.
Oh, okay, we created that.
No, no. It happened. He literally looked at people and said, "Who calls Rob Thompson a good communicator? Because I've never had that experience." That was Nick.
All right. Well, other than Nick, look, these guys are professionals, right? They're professionals. They're football players. They're a team. They are. A team.
But they're not, though. That's the issue. They're not a team.
But I'm telling them, all right, so
they had a meeting.
Okay, well, look, I'm going to give them a little bit of advice. They need to pull it together.
Mm-hmm.
They each have their own little personality, right? Jalen doesn't talk, you know, Saquon does his thing, AJ this, whatever. You know, Lane Johnson's trying to pull in, you know, making sure that we're all like, look, they just need to pull it together, stay close as a team. You know, if it means that they all have to go do like a mile walk together. And
a little yoga on a Saturday, maybe.
Absolutely.
I love it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I agree. I wish they would do that, Michelle. I really do. I wish they would.
Hey, listen, I got in trouble a couple months ago because they all need like their own little BFF. Like they need their own little personal coach outside of the organization, almost like a sister, a mom, whatever. They just need somebody in their pocket that they can talk to, that they could help, you know, talk it through. They don't need to see a doctor. They don't need to see a psych person, whatever. They just need somebody that kind of help them through this.
Okay. All right. I see. I
don't want to see any more. I don't want to see any more 4 tush pushes.
All right. We can agree, Michelle, we can agree on that. Thank you so much. I appreciate the call. I appreciate the back and forth. I definitely see it completely different from Michelle, but I appreciate you chiming in and sharing your opinions there. I don't think they are a team.